Told you we was giving you the okay back today to make a way. He gon' die today, nobody stay.
All right, Dr.View, man, I appreciate you coming in, sitting down with us.
Anytime. Am I looking at you this whole time?
Yeah, you can talk to me. So how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm grateful to be alive in this pandemic.
Yeah, it's been
crazy.
Crazy for sure. That's the best way to put it. It's been crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
How has that affected you as far as like musically?
It's actually helped. I mean, I'm a busybody. So pandemic, kind of puts you, in a place where you got to sit with everything. Yeah. So, I mean, just from a artistic standpoint, I mean, it's just been dope to just be present in the moment, recognize that life ain't like one day you here, one day you not. So it's really just an opportunity just to like really dive into some music and like just let people know how you feel and like truly hope that the music that you're creating is gonna really touch some people in some ways that's gonna help them understand like, hey, I gotta get my stuff together.
For sure.
So yeah, man, between that and going to therapy, man, it was probably the saving grace in regards to 2020. So.
That's important too also, but I mean, I feel like you've been working for sure. It didn't slow you down too much.
Not too much, man. Not too much.
So we're gonna take it back all the way. Just where are you originally from? Are you from Tulsa?
No, I'm not. I'm from Longview, Texas.
Okay.
So that's where View comes from. Dr.View's hometown's called View for short. So East Texas, probably like 2 hours east of Dallas, about 45 minutes from Shreveport, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So yeah, country. But I mean, it's very similar to Tulsa. Like everybody know everybody, big country city. So, but yeah, that's where I'm from.
Okay, so was there a music scene out there? Were you involved in music at all?
Not necessarily. I mean, everything when I was growing up was around like H-Town, Screw, music, heavily influenced by that. So, but yeah, not really on the scene there. I really didn't tap into music really until I came to Oklahoma undergrad at OU when I started DJing. So. But yeah, that's where I started.
Okay, so you started doing what? Just like college frat parties, stuff like that?
College parties, social events on campus, going to different campuses, UCO, Langston, yeah, you name it, like I was there. So yeah, probably started in 2009, started DJing, and the rest is history.
How did you get into that? Is that?
Man, my roommate had a virtual DJ on his laptop, and I just saw it one day after class, picked it up in like a month, like just taught myself, learned about cue points, and I didn't have no headphones, I didn't have no turntables, I just had a Toshiba laptop.
Yeah.
And since I didn't have the equipment and I hadn't had the money for it, I had to memorize my cue points. So anytime you saw me DJ at a party, like I didn't have no headphones, nothing. It was just like I knew the transitions, stacking my bread up, finally got my first set, and then just started going crazy. Yeah. So
okay, so at what point does that like shift into when did you start making beats?
I didn't start playing around production till probably like 2013.
Okay.
Just trying to get a feel for it, and then it wasn't until probably like 2016 that I was like, okay, I think I can really do some stuff with this. And yeah, I just hit the ground running from there. Just started, and I've never sold a beat. I'm in the school of DJ Khaled that, it's all about publishing. It's all about like, connecting the dots. Like, I have a certain service that I can provide the artist and vice versa. We all can eat at the same time. Yeah, so yeah, like all the stuff you've heard, like that's just me just connecting with folks. Like, yo, let's make sure the business is right. But we really collaborate and make some dope music.
Yeah, that's dope. I feel like that always ends up with the best product when it's not, let me send you a beat and send it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When it's a process and y'all are both in there trying to, like, with a common goal, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you said that you started in 2013. Are you working on your doctorate already by then?
No, I didn't. I wasn't starting that till 2015. I wasn't even planning to do it. My boss was just like, are you interested? I was like, nah. He was a black dude too. He was like, what if I pay for it? I was like, I mean, obviously you see something in me that I don't see in myself. So he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I knew I wanted to do something around hip hop and education. And so just started reading and was like, yo, let me do this as an album, a hip hop album, and everything else just kind of took off from there. Just opportunities, and even just coming to Tulsa. Like Tulsa was never part of the plan, at least in my mind. And just got the opportunity to work for the Woody Guthrie and the Bob Dylan Center, and they allowed me to, executive produce and create, Fire in Little Africa. And so now we're here. Like it's really about to shake the world.
For sure.
So,
what line of work were you in? Like before?
So I worked in student affairs.
Okay.
So like higher ed administration. So mostly around recruitment and retaining like students of color on campus. So yeah, just a lot of mentorship, a lot of like, looking over financial aid, like stuff like that. So
okay, so where did the idea? Well, let me clear it up. So you did your dissertation as an album, right? Is that what happened?
So I did a written dissertation, which is over 250 pages, and then I did an album that was 25 tracks. Yeah. So I got the idea from the homie A.D. Carson, who graduated 2 years before me, 2017. He came out with a 34-track rap album dissertation. And it was really just him talking about his experiences attending Clemson University. So I was like, and I already been contemplating like a different type of dissertation. And then when I saw the blueprint, I was like, oh, it's a rap. And I knew as a producer, because I don't rap, I knew that if I could get some people involved, a part of my research study, but it's still a hip hop album, it's connected to education, but it's also connected to the culture, to the community. So I finessed it. I really didn't finesse it. Like I really did like let people know like this can be done like in the field of education. And we recorded it at the ACM in Bricktown because UCO has the Academy of Contemporary Music. And they let me use all 3 studios on Sundays. We just locked in and made it happen and got dissertation of the year, and yeah, it was lit.
That's dope. I didn't even realize until I was doing the research for this interview that you were actually a doctor. Like I just thought.
yeah, I ain't no Dr. Dre.
Yeah, that's literally what I said. I thought it was Dr. Dre, but
it's real life. I work for that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope. And then so you talked about it a little bit, but talk about just kind of what you do for the Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan Centers.
Yeah, so I'm a manager of education, diversity outreach for Woody and Bob Dylan. And it's funny, when they approached me about the job, I was like, what y'all want with a 31-year-old hip hop head?
Yeah.
Like Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan? Like straight white folks. Like what's the situation? So I basically take like their sensibilities as an artist, as an activist, and create programming around it and talk to kids. So I may take like, Bob Dylan's creative process and connect it to like Nipsey Hussle and his entrepreneurial spirit, and then go to like a Booker T. Washington and like talk to kids about, what that looks like. So also with exhibits, so it's a museum world, so we create exhibits. Like we had, we call it like the Woody Guthrie Prize. We gave it to Chuck D like a year and a half ago. And then we developed programming, like hip hop programming around it. So we brought in Ninth Wonder to do a talk. So it's just like dope stuff around, like it's still hip hop to me, but it's still educational in a sense.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's dope. And then like taking something that maybe it wouldn't have been relatable and kind of relating it to kids.
Because I told them straight up, like, man, I can't go into no schools. I mean, like, well, today we're going to talk about Bob Dylan. Like, they'll be like, who are you and why are we talking? So, yeah, it's just really like meeting students where they're at.
For sure.
Yeah, so.
That's dope. So let's get into the music a little bit more. I want to talk about Invisible Men and just kind of take us through like kind of the thought process and what everything is going on with that.
It was actually a social experiment, and it kind of evolved. So I was really anxious about Fire in Little Africa. So like 60 artists in one space. Our ego's gonna be in the way. Like people gonna actually collaborate, create. Like, so I was like, let me test before we record Fila. Let me use some beats that I got and some artists that I wanted to work with. Put them in the studio for 2 days and let's just see what we create. So I gave them the concept of what the album was gonna be called, Invisible Man, which is an homage to Ralph Ellison. who's from Oklahoma City, East Side Oklahoma City to be fact. I think he went to Douglas as a student. And I was just like, everything that's happening with Oklahoma music, hip hop, it's like, how do we make it known to folks that, like, in the words of Steph Simon, everything is us, right? So I was like, how can I develop a concept where it's all my beats as an Oklahoma producer, all artists who are from Oklahoma, with the concept idea that's Oklahoma. Because when people think about Ralph Ellison, they think about the book, they think about New York.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, he from here.
Yeah.
He's a product of our environment. So yeah, I called it Invisible Man, and I put parentheses around in because I was like, how can I make the invisible visible? When we think about Oklahoma, people don't equate hip hop to Oklahoma. They just like think it's like a gimmick, or like when you think of Oklahoma as a flyover state, like no one takes it serious. So I was like, how can I be in conversation with Ralph Ellison's book, but also how can I be in conversation with like these other artists who are dope, who just need an opportunity and access to let the world know like how dope we are. So it's really just me putting myself on the line, being like, yo, these are artists I want on these songs. And that's the thing, I just gave them the beat. I didn't give them any direction on what to write.
I was just about to ask that, like how that worked.
I didn't give them any direction on what to write, or it just organically came together. And what happened was, like, I was so adamant about them telling their story that the album is really a reflection of my life, which is the trippy part, like real trippy. And it's like the things we got coming down the pipeline, it felt like Invisible Man was like predicting the future. Like when Steph Simon says on Sam Fletcher, by 2021, I'm gonna cop some acres. Like we're actually having conversations about copping some acres, like real talk. So yeah, bro, the music is there, it's intentional. And I think it really confirmed for me that like, I'm not just, you know, a mover and shaker, I'm an artist too. And yeah, I just leaned into that after that project.
For sure. I also wanted to touch on, just because we talked about it with Dom, the 25 Lighters project that y'all just did. So
Yeah.
just kind of touch on that from your perspective.
Yeah, that was, I mean, when I came to the town in 2019, like August, he was one of the first artists that I pulled up on, and we just started like just really connecting. Like he's an old soul. He's like a Travis Scott vibe with like just soul, like energy. Like it's just kind of like unmatched. And so like with my production, as far as sample 70s funk soul, and then his approach, it just connected. And so he told me like, yo, I want to do this EP, 25 Lighters, and you want to get my family involved, my grandmother, stuff like that. I was like, say less, because I think what I preach is like Oklahoma's not in the business of fans, we're in the business of community.
Yeah.
And so like for me to be able to understand him on a artist level, but also personal, like helped me to be a better producer. Like, and Taylor makes, you know, things for him. But yeah, that was a dope experience, man. He's a top-notch caliber artist. He's about to have a big year, like a really big year. Like, so, but yeah, it was a dope experience, bro, and I truly enjoyed it.
For sure. You kind of segued perfectly, so I'm gonna just go off of that. Talk about kind of like, you said Oklahoma's community-based, so I've been asking everybody, kind of, it feels more like that in Tulsa to me. Like Oklahoma City's kind of getting there, but like Tulsa kind of has it more established. So just kind of talk about.
If you were here for a week, you would just feel this energy, like true, right? Especially on the north side.
Yeah.
You would feel this energy, and what I equate it to is the ancestors of Black Wall Street. Like, I live in North Tulsa, and you know, I just feel it every day. Like it's just like it's low-key overwhelming the amount of energy I feel from their presence. So I start there because like you gotta think, this is 2021. This is 100 years later. all the people that could have been a part of this, they picked somebody from Longview, Texas, Steph Simon, St. Dominic, Dial Tone, the list goes on and on and on. Like, we're here, a part of this like pivotal moment in history. So like it makes, we would be stupid not to have the mentality of Black Wall Street. So like when Steph preaches everything is us, it has to be, because no one takes us serious to begin with. So if we don't take ourselves serious, then how is everybody else gonna like connect with us? So yeah, everything is communal. It has to be. Like, that's the only way we're gonna like pick this up the way it needs to be. And so yeah, like I definitely feel it in Tulsa. I do agree that it's picking up in Oklahoma. I think with the FILA weekend that we had last year, I think people started to like really open their eyes, being like, it's I don't have to like just get mine to like make it. Like, if we truly come together, like, we're more powerful than anything. And I think, to be honest, FILA is a representation of like a modern day civil rights movement, like for real, because like we have to be in communication. Like, no detail is too small. Like, there's, you know, conversations we're having with, you know, folks in particular spaces, and we're like thinking about other people that we're connected to get them involved with the business that we're doing. So yeah, this is, the hip hop game is going to be like amazed at what comes out of Tulsa and Oklahoma this year. And they're just gonna be like, why didn't we think of that?
For sure.
It's because the egos are put to the side, and people truly understand like the moment that we're in, and who we're trying to commemorate. So
for sure. You kind of, I wish I could remember the book. It was about, I'm an entrepreneurship major at OU, and it was like creating we had to read it for class about creating like a environment of entrepreneurship, and talking about just how like everybody making money helps everybody make money, you know what I mean? And he said like competition kills creativity. And so
absolutely.
That's all I could think about when you were talking.
Yeah, for sure.
So you talked about kind of the Fire in Little Africa weekend already, but I just kind of want to go into a little further detail about just kind of, that's a crazy thing to pull off, you know what I mean?
It is, man. I was, I've said it before, but like Dreamville was the inspiration. When I watched the Revenge of the Dreamers 3 documentary, and I was still writing my dissertation at that time, wasn't even thinking about Tulsa. I was just like, yo, that's dope. And I'm like, man, if I ever get an opportunity, like I want to, you know, make that happen. Lo and behold, you know, Tulsa calls me, Woody Guthrie, Bob Dylan, and I'm like, yo, can we do this? Like, they was like, yeah. So moved here. Steph Simon was the first person I pulled up on. We had to get through our stuff together. Primarily because, I mean, Steph has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And so me, as an outsider coming in, he's like, man, who are you? Like, who are you to tell me that a Black Wall Street album? So, like, getting through those things, letting them know, like, bro, I'm not here to take anything away from you. If anything, I'm gonna make some shit blow up.
Yeah.
And so once we got through those things, we picked the executive team, we picked the artists, and then we just really laid the red carpet out, bro. We recorded March 12th through the 16th of last year, literally right before the pandemic got crazy. And we invited some hip hop journalists, national journalists, professors, hip hop professors come through, actually watch us create the album. Created it at the Greenwood Cultural Center and Skyline Mansion, which I don't know if you're familiar, like Skyline used to be called Brady Mansion. So for us to just take over the space, have TNT Wings out there, just seeing like, again, Grand National and Chris McCain, Thomas Hughes, Kobe Ryan, T. Rush, K.O., Steph Simon, like Ridden Quincy, like seeing all these people, just Paris, MC, seeing all these people just moving different. We had like 6 studios set up. Just seeing people just hit a verse. And like, okay, I'm about to go into another room. Like, we recorded 143 songs in those 5 days. But yeah, it was some crazy magic that was recorded. Shout out to the sponsor Sap Extract that was there. But yeah, it was a total of 75 hours that we recorded in those 5 days. And I think the beauty for me was hearing like Thomas Who come up to me like, man, I feel like a rapper this weekend. Really just because like they didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Like food was covered, weed was covered, hotel was covered for folks who didn't live in Tulsa. All they had to do was just show up. And it was just a really dope experience, something that you just, even you just being there, you would just be like, man, I want to get on the microphone.
Yeah.
And I don't even rap. So it was just a really dope vibe that really just changed the game. Like, you gotta think about it. If the pandemic shut down a week before, Fila would not be a thing.
Yeah.
So like it's been very like divine that's been happening lately, just things that have been coming down the pipeline. So.
Yeah, so talk about kind of like going from that into the steam is gained now with like, I feel like a lot of it kind of happened in June with the Juneteenth and with, you know, everything that was going on in Tulsa at that time.
Yeah, I mean, Juneteenth wasn't even, it was canceled.
Yeah.
When we found out Trash Ass 45 was coming, shout out to Tiffany Crutcher in the community, just like, yo, we're gonna build this up in like 5 days.
Yeah.
And they asked Fila to be, you know, part of the show. I think St. Dom and Steph, Mr. Burns, maybe some others, but they performed first verse, performed at Juneteenth Festival. But yeah, that's when things just started picking up. Rolling Stone article, Grammy article start coming out, Business Insider. So yeah, like people just like, yo, like what's going on in Tulsa, man? So yeah, that really was the turning point for everything.
So how has the process been cutting 143 songs down to what it ended up being, 25?
21.
21?
It's 21 tracks. It's not as bad as you think. I mean, obviously I'm a producer,
Yeah.
so but I mean, we just had a good group of folks, me, Steph, Tone, Dom, and then producers and engineers that were in the rooms originally. We started knocking those down, and then once we got to a point where we were around like 40 songs, and then the executive team, myself, Dom, and Steph and Tone just kind of put it down to the 21 songs. But it wasn't that bad. I think more so it was just like getting verses on other songs that fit like the storyline of what we're trying to create. But I think we definitely did a damn good job of like picking those 21 songs, and we even been, you know, contemplating a deluxe edition too, just for those who didn't make the album.
Yeah.
Just to be a part of that, because this ain't just an album. This is like a time capsule. Like truly, we're connecting like what happened in 1921 to now, but also just like what is like 100 years later. What are people gonna be talking about this album? So it wasn't as bad as you would think.
Sounds daunting for sure. Like you.
I mean, yeah, but it's just like when you know good music, you just kind of go with the flow. You just allow your intuition to tell you what needs to happen. And I mean, again, like just having like a collaborative process where like at the end of the day, if the shit don't jam, like it's not going on the album.
Right.
So like just being honest with ourselves, going back to like the ego, like stripping the ego out the way, and just being like, yo, being objective as possible. Cause you gotta think, like a lot of these folks we really cool with too. So us saying like no to something, it's just like, it's not personal. It's like, this is our one shot. Like truly, this is Oklahoma's like one shot where like the world is gonna be like, okay,
let's see.
We got your ear, like you got my eyes, you got my ears, like let me hear it. So like we have to protect that, like, and also, you know, I've been hearing a lot of folks about like, why we're not involved. And it's just like, you have no idea what this album's gonna do for the entire culture, not even just music, y'all's podcasts. I mean, y'all's interviews and all those things, but like, this is gonna benefit everybody. The cannabis industry, like when you think of music and
For sure.
like it's gonna elevate everything. And so like I just tell everybody, like, just because you wasn't picked doesn't mean that you're gonna not be a part of like what's gonna be happening moving forward. So, but yeah, man, it was daunting in certain points, but like overall, it wasn't bad at all.
So I want to ask you, like, when, because we learned about the Tulsa race riots and Black Wall Street and everything in school. I went to school in Lawton, and like you know what I'm saying, it was covered in our Oklahoma history class. But like, it's crazy to me that everybody we've talked to, like, they grew up in Tulsa schools and didn't learn anything about it. So at what point did you become familiar with it?
Man, I was probably like around 24, 25. So again, and I always like, shout out to Kobe Ryan. He writes this, he wrote a line, not for the album, but just in general. He was like, I was looking at these books I got loans for. I didn't know about Black Wall Street till I was 24. And so he's basically saying, like, bro, I've graduated. I'm from Lawton. I graduated from a Lawton high school. I went to an Oklahoma, like, college. I graduated with a degree, and it wasn't until after I got the degree that I learned about Black Wall Street. So I'm in that same boat. Like, yeah, I didn't learn until like 24, 25. And it was just through like a brief conversation, just like, what? What'd you just say? And like, just to hear like people talk about it, I'm like, bro, I've been here over 10 years and I'm just now figuring out about this. So like, yeah, it's disheartening. But I think that's why art is so important. That's why hip hop is so important. Like, we're taking the initiative to like teach people about it. And the beauty of it is we're also developing curriculum. So like the songs that make the album, we're developing into a curriculum so they can be taught in schools. And not only that, like, we're going to train teachers to like be able to teach it, but also train artists to be in the classroom with teachers. So now it's like, oh, my favorite Oklahoma artist is Step Simon. Step Simon may actually come to your class today, like, and talk to you about this. So like, that's what I'm saying, it's bigger than the raps. Like, this is bigger than just an album that we're gonna put on streaming platforms. Like, we're about to tell the world the history, the untold history. We're gonna make dope music with it. Got a dope documentary, dope curriculum. So it's just like, you can't negate like, what we're bringing to the table. Like, this is something that hip hop has never seen before, and like, we're really gonna shock some people. It's your man, Dr.View, executive producer, founder of Africa, the Invisible Man, and I'm giving you the OakA.